mean, there's a direct correlation to the amount of agents and production you have in your office and profitability. It's very hard to be profitable and get free time and balance back with a low agent count. It's just hard to do. Hey everyone, this is Brian Icenhower. Welcome to the show today. Excited about today's topic. And what I want to talk about today is real estate recruiting. And more importantly, recruiting the right way. Recruiting has got kind of a bad shtick. It's almost like, and I think a lot of people are resistant to recruiting. A lot of broker owners and sales managers and recruiters, they don't want to be known as a recruiter. And you're talking to someone who I've been in the business over 35 years and owned and operated multiple real estate brokerages, some of the largest and highest producing in the country. Still own some, and of course, Icenhower Coaching. We coach a very high percentage of the highest performing offices and broker owners and national brands across the country. And so I'm always speaking on recruiting, it seems like, and I hear the same things and talking to people the same ways. And a lot of my coaches, successful recruiters too, encounter the same problems. We talk about them all the time, and it just never seems to go away. Decade after decade after decade, the same mindset. And it really has more to do with, not liking recruiting being kind of a made up excuse, because it's growth, right? When people start a brokerage or get in a management position, they have this idea of growing it, that's when they start, right? And then they start to see all the failure that's associated with recruiting and how tough it is. Because it is the hardest thing to do in real estate. It is. In the whole industry, it's the hardest thing to do. There's no doubt about it. Much harder to recruit an agent than it is to take a listing. You take a listing, someone wants to sell their house. They're just trying to decide whether it's you, maybe, or somebody else that's going to do it. Recruiting, oftentimes people don't want to get into real estate, or they don't want to leave their current company, or they don't, people just don't like change in general. They haven't made their mind up to change. And you may be trying to get them to, and that's hard. And it's very similar to coaching, because even though people want to get a coach, and they coaches, we make them do uncomfortable stuff. It could be like investing in their business. It could be, doing some uncomfortable business generation activity that they haven't done before. And change is new and change is difficult. It was tough. And there's so much failure associated with it. I mean, you got a relationship build and meet lots of different agents, and typically there's lots of brokerages, so the likelihood they're all going to go to you and not turn you down and go to other relationships they have or people they know at other brokerages and things like that is pretty slim. So, the numbers game, there's a low conversion rate. You're going to fail more than you're going to win and succeed in recruiting appointments. So because of that, it's no fun. And then it gets tiring and time consuming. It's also humbling, very humbling. I cannot say that enough. I mean, you could have this successful real estate career and, sold a ton of real estate, got a real successful brokerage, be the top of the heap in your area. And then you could sit down with some agent that sold one house in the last 3 years, and they'll be like, why should I join your brokerage? I mean, literally, it's amazing how humbling it is all of a sudden. So that's no fun. All of that coupled together is just no fun. It's hard. I mean, it's the work part of work. I mean, there's always some part that's just like, you want to be in shape. Good idea to do some sit-ups and strengthen your core, but I don't like sit-ups. I do them. I don't have to like the activities. You just got to like the results. And that's what motivates me. If I have a strong core, I don't have back pain, and that motivates me to get through the tough work. If I'm a real estate broker, same thing. The results of recruiting, I mean, there's a direct correlation to the amount of agents and production you have in your office and profitability. It's very hard to be profitable and get free time and balance back with a low agent count. It's just hard to do. That's why, smaller boutique offices, typically the broker owner will always have to sell, because if that broker owner did not have their own production, the production of the other agents typically will not cover the expenses of the office. So the broker owner is forced to continue selling. So there is no scalability. There is no way to retire and get passive income from this unless we stop the production, and then all of a sudden we don't have profit. So it's dangerous. And that's the vast majority of brokerages out there, the vast majority. And they didn't all want to start that way. Most people start a brokerage thinking they'd have enough agents so somehow they wouldn't have to sell themselves. And that's, if you ever read Kiyosaki's The Cash Flow Quadrant, if you haven't, boy, I'd jump on that book. That's one of my favorite books of all time. And it talks about how to keep scaling, because we always want you on a business model where you're growing, and you're growing two ways, right? You're always generating more income but at the same time, you're getting more of your life back, okay, for your health or your family or your hobbies or whatever. We want both happening at the same time. We don't want a scenario where more business just means you got to work harder. That's when you're an employee working for yourself in your own business. It's not really a business. It's the wrong side of the cash flow quadrant. Kiyosaki would tell you, we got to get a business that runs itself. We got to always be at least moving in that direction, right? We're gonna be patient about it, but we got to get there. So read that book if you haven't and you're a business owner, even if you're a solo agent, because you got to, that's how people form real estate teams. They get out of production now. Like I'll tell you, we coach many of the highest producing teams, brokerages, and agents in North America. And it's amazing how many success stories there are. But it's, relative to the 2 million agents in North America, it's a very small percentage because most start to find excuses why it's too hard. They can't get through all that failure. And they'll start to say things like, recruiting is, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to bother people. I don't want to, I don't have time for that. And they'll say, I'm just too busy, helping my own agents or helping my own clients. So I'm all in servicing and I'm out of growth completely. No growth. And any business that's not growing is dying. I'll tell you that right now. And then sooner or later, some of your agents are going to leave because that's just what happens. Agents leave. It may not even be because of you. It just could be because of a divorce or retirement or, moving to a different town, or could be a new office opening up that gets everybody excited and the herd moves some of your agents. That happens all the time. It'll happen sooner or later if you do it long enough. You better be able to grow, and that's usually what motivates you to grow. Oh my gosh, I got nobody here. I got to grow, or I got to get a coach. So you're very reactive. It's too late. It's much easier to get bigger and insulate your business. So if you do lose some agents, it doesn't hurt your bottom line much. It's safer. It's better for you, your family, your career, everything. The bigger you are, the harder it is to fail. And that's where the old, I think, 100-year-old business adage, too big to fail, comes from, is growth and scale get you safer. It gets you safer. So learning to be a good recruiter the right way is the key. And that's what I want to talk to you about. Because if you think you're coming off as a shark or too aggressive or you're being a salesperson or too salesy and too pushy, man, we're doing it wrong. We're doing it wrong. Something's wrong with that approach. You're talking to a guy that's recruited thousands of agents himself, multiple thousands. I'm not quite sure the total number. And, coached many of them and led many of them throughout my entire career. I've got a lot of experience recruiting and trained many of my own recruiters from my offices and just for decades now. And my recruiting systems are pretty proven, man. And it's really similar to my sphere of influence system. If you're building a referral database, a sphere of influence of people as a real estate agent, you're just selling real estate. You're really just trying to cultivate a group of people that at least know who you are, by name. They don't have to be close friends. You may just be kind of liking each other's posts on Facebook or something, your acquaintances. They maybe never met in person, but you would recognize each other's name. And then you keep adding value to them slowly and subtly and not asking for too much too fast. You're just trying to add value and come from contribution over and over again. That's what we try to do in recruiting too. It's no different. And most agents have no problem with building a business by referral, by growing their sphere of influence, their SOI. But yet we talk about recruiting, they're like, oh no, that's too pushy. I don't like that. Recruiting should be just like growing your SOI. You're staying in front of a lot of people, not pushing anybody too fast, adding value, trying to help, come from contribution while you build relationship. And then ultimately, half of them probably just going to join you because most agents are going to leave brokerages. Things will happen. They'll get in a fight with someone in their office. They won't like their broker. Their production will go down. That's the big one. Their production goes down and they got to make a change. And the last thing that change is going to be them. They're going to go grass is always greener and look for a new office. Maybe that'll help things, right? It is what it is. You can either complain about that or be the beneficiary of it. And then they'll meet with you because you're the one that's in a relationship with them. So we should just be meeting with agents, getting to know agents, being where agents are, communicating with them on social media, cultivating a following in our database, in our social media channels, trying to get face-to-face and build rapport with them, being where agents are, adding value and having as many appointments as possible, getting to know them and their business and trying to help them in their business through kind of a halfway coaching mentor relationship so they sell more real estate at their existing brokerage. If we can do that, and come from contribution and give the content away, it will come back to us. But having these old school recruiting appointments where we meet with someone, we sit down, and we say, here's what we offer, and try to get them to sign up, that can work with new agents, sure, because we know they're going somewhere. But if it's an agent that doesn't reach out to you, that is at another brokerage, that won't work. In fact, that might poison the well. So it's very hard for you to get appointments anymore because that stuff gets around. No one wants to be pressured. So I would more or less, adopt an approach where we're just getting to know everybody. And, and if they ever ask about it, say, hey, I'm sizing you up just like you're sizing me up. I mean, that's just every relationship's that way. We do that when we're dating. We do that when we're deciding whether we're going to be better friends with someone. But it's a cooperating business where, we work together to sell property. And, the script I'd always use is most agents move brokerages 2 or 3 times in their career. So whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years from now, I just want to be in relationship with you. So when it's time for you, at least you'll know what I'm all about. And all of a sudden it just disarms everything and we can sit and have a conversation. Then I just ask a lot of questions and we have a systemized process through that, at ICC, and I won't go into the details of that, but we're really just coming from contribution and asking about their business. And we have a way to kind of find out where their pain points are and ask the right questions. And all of a sudden they'll start to tell you, hey, I'm struggling here. Or I wish I could make more income, or maybe I need some help, or maybe, I'm working too much, or I want to raise my price point, or all those different things. Then we offer some suggestions, right? There's ways to offer suggestions or ask some questions to help them find their own objections or their own answers and solutions. And we teach that process at ICC. It's kind of neat. And all of a sudden you'll be in that relationship where, their own broker hasn't done this. Most brokers are just guys that sit behind a desk and solve your problems. They play deal doctor. You get into a transaction and you got a problem like getting your client's deposit back or something like that, or someone backs out on your deal, usually about deposit. And then you go to your broker and the broker, gives you an answer. And that's most broker owners right there. It's all they do. Where your real problem is usually I want to make more income. Like, how do I get more of these clients, right? If you can be the one broker that cares about their real problems and has solutions to that, you're going to be something different. It shows that you run a production-centric organization, team, or brokerage, and you've dug into their real problems. And that's a conversation their existing broker probably never had before. So it's really important to keep the conversation production-centric like that, where we're trying to increase their income and their free time at the same time, like we talked about. By getting in there, I look as a doctor, man. We're going to ask them questions, and we're going to ask them where it hurts, find out all their symptoms. And then we're going to kind of diagnose the problem, and ultimately we're going to help them with a prescription. And that might be multiple meetings and, inviting them to a training of yours to help with one of their problems, or just finding different solutions where we can keep adding value to them over time and never pushing too hard. But pretty soon, they'll start to you'll start to see the green lights from that. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, like, they're really interested. They're reaching out to me with things. And if you can be that for everybody, you're kind of giving people a test spin of what it'd be like to be in your brokerage. Because if you run a production-centric brokerage and you run brokerages the way we coach our broker managers and owners to do, where you're always adding value through our systems and you're always helping agents grow their business and their careers, and you have that type of office that just isn't there to put out fires. You're actually helping people grow. Even your highest producers, your most experienced producers, they have problems too, man. They usually need free time and help and support. So there's ways to help them with their businesses on that end too. And if you can be a brokerage that's always adding value and coming from contribution, then recruiting's fun, which means you have to know how to do these things, right? Which is where a coach helps. I'm selling the heck out of my coaching today. But our online systems help with that too. So all of a sudden recruiting's different. So don't assess whether you like recruiting before you're proficient at it. Learning how to add value and come from contribution, because a good coach is a good recruiter, and a good recruiter is a good coach. You really have a hard time recruiting if you don't know how to coach agents to sell more. It's just really hard. And that's something we help a lot of our clients do, because that way, they feel very comfortable coming to your brokerage because they've been coached by you in recruiting appointments that they don't even consider recruiting appointments. They consider them coaching appointments. They got so much value from them. It's very easy. Like, they've test drove the car. They know what it drives like. Going over to your brokerage seems like the next logical fit, right? They've seen what they need to do their business, how to systematize it, and you've probably weaved in a lot of the tools you have just so they know, with no pressure. So if they came over, our tools are a little easier to coach on. You have to go ask your broker how to use his tools, and I don't know how good he is at that and things like that. And they'll start to self-discover they're a better fit at your place. because it's what all you talk about. It's what your focus is their biggest problem is always they want to make more money or get more free time. It's not transactional problems. That's not their career problem. It never is. And most brokers just hold their hat on that's the one value that their brokers provides is good transactional support, which is nice. We want that at a minimum level of benefit. That's a minimum level of benefit. I hope you can, because everybody thinks they're the best at that. I don't know a broker owner doesn't think they're the best at that or love that. It's a very low net worth skill to have as a broker because everyone has it and they think they're the best. It's the way it works, right? And everybody thinks their broker is the best at it too. It just is what it is. It's not now a good recruiter though, that's something different. There aren't many of those. Those are golden geese. You find one of those, you hang on to it. If you can become that, that's because you've typically gotten good at coaching. You can help agents with their true problem. And their true problem is typically always, I want to make more money and I want to get more personal time and more support for the top producers. And that's just the way it is. You've got to learn how to help agents with those problems by getting into a coaching / mentor / consultant relationship with them so that when you meet and do recruit, you can evidence that, take them on a test drive, show them what it's like when they're at their existing brokerage. Don't push. Sooner or later, they'll come to you. They'll see the light one way or the other. It'll be because of something that happens to them at their brokerage, or they start liking, they start picking up what you're putting down in your meetings with them, or a combination of the two. Those two things come together and voila, you're recruiting the right way. You will grow. And it's the best way to be selective about agents in your office too, because you get agents that are coming to you that are focused on increasing their production. They're not coming for drama. They're not coming for a window office. They're coming because they want to sell more. And those are focused agents with the right mindset. I don't know why people say they're being selective on who they bring in their brokerage. I think everybody says that. So it's something that every brokerage says. I've never met somebody that didn't say that. Then I look at the agent mix in their brokerage. I'm like, what are you being selective about? I don't get it. Like it's same agent mix as every other brokerage. 80% of them don't sell a thing and 20% do most of the business. I don't get it. But if you get a bunch of agents coming your way that are all liking your coaching and are all motivated on selling more and growing their business or putting in better systems and getting their business scaled so they have more life balance, you got people coming for the right reasons. They're going to have good attitudes. They're going to be low drama. We can always refocus them on their business and away from any drama that comes at them too. I've seen a lot of drama agents at other brokerages that came to my brokerages over the years, and they changed and they turned the leaf. Because they knew, and it was easy to refocus them. Hey, remember you came here because of this? Let's talk about that. Let's not worry about that one person that joined our brokerage that you don't like. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, let's focus on you. So all of a sudden we could refocus them because that was the reason they came. They came to increase their production. So that's the key to recruiting the right way. This should sound right to you because we're adding value. We're evidencing our wares. We're being very honest. We're being very transparent. We are not hard selling. We're being vulnerable that we want to grow, right? We want to grow with the right people that receive this message well, people that want to grow their business. If you don't want to grow your business, you're just fine and you don't care, you're all good. I guarantee you that's drama waiting to be happening. That's someone, because you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're dying, you're miserable and you're complaining and you're not the type of person you want in your brokerage anyway. So let's recruit those production-centric agents and recruit the right way. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate having you on the show this week, and we'll see you next week.